Next we move over to the control statements that are available in C++. So what are these control statements? This is what we have already seen in C. They are called conditional constructs, that is based on whether a condition is true or false. A set of statements are either executed or not executed. So it is a selective execution of statements depending upon the value of the expressions associated with them. So you have an expression, they will evaluate to some value. Based on the value, you will decide whether you have to execute some statements or not. So it is the selection of the user based on the output of the expression evaluation, you have the selective execution. So in this you have two types of constructs in conditional constructs. One is the decision making statements, the other is the looping constructs. So we will see what are the two types of decision making statements and the looping constructs. In decision making you have the if else construct and the switch case construct. So first we will see the if else statement. Here we use the keyword if. It is followed by a logical expression where data is compared. Decision is made based on the result of the comparison. The syntax of this is if keyword followed by the expression, opening and closing braces which contain the statements, followed by the else keyword which contain the statements. So if the expression is true, the statements following if will be evaluated. If the expression is false, the statements following else will be evaluated. So this is the if else construct available in C++. Next we have the switch case construct. Now the switch case also has the same syntax that we have seen in C. Here when we have multiple values for a single variable, like in this if and else expression, one variable you can say if x is equal to 0 then do this, else do that. Now in switch case say x can hold values from 0 to 10. In such a case you need to have those many number of if statements, if x is equal to 0 or if x is equal to 1, if x is equal to 2 and so on. So when you do not want such a big program, but you have a situation where one variable can hold more than one value, then you have to go in for the switch case construct. Here every switch statement has a condition variable, let us call it CV. This condition variable is compared with each case constant. Now case constant is something which is all the possible values that the CV can hold. So if x is the condition variable and if x can have values from 0 to 5, there will be 5 case constants from 0 to 5, and this condition variable is compared with each case constant. If one of the case constants matches with the condition variable, the statements which follow that case constant are executed. Now you will see it in the example. Now say you are having x is equal to 2 over here, then you are giving switch x. So here that x becomes a condition variable which is indicated by the green arrow. So now this x can hold the value, x is holding the value 2, but we do not know that x is holding only the value 2. X is a variable, integer variable, so it can hold any integer value. So because it can hold a number of values, we are using this switch case statement. It is followed by this opening brace which indicates the body of the switch construct. Now this is called the case constant, this one is called the case constant. So the value which follows the keyword case is called the case constant. So this x is now compared with this 1, x is holding the value 2, this case constant is 1. So is 1 is equal to 2? No. So the case constant does not match the condition variable. So the statements following this case will be ignored. Next you come to case 2. This condition variable is again compared with this case constant. So x is compared with this case constant 2. Yes, 2 is equal to 2. So the statements following this case constant will be executed. Cout number is 2 and a break statement. The rest of the case construct will not be seen because already there is one case constant which has matched with the condition variable. So this is how a switch case construct is executed, and this is how the compiler checks the condition variable with each case constant. Now there are special cases where no case constant matches with the condition variable. In that case you have something called the default keyword. You may have a default or you may not have a default, that does not matter. But if no case constant matches with the condition variable, if you have a default, it will give a pleasant output. It will say no value matches with the condition variable. So the default statements are executed. In case there is no default label in your switch case construct, automatically the control will pass out of the switch case construct. So, if there is no default label, none of the statements in the switch case is executed. So, if a case constant matches, the statements following the case constant are executed. If no case constant matches, the statements in the default label are executed. If there is no default label, then no statement in the switch case is executed. These are all the possible situations that can occur when you are creating a switch statement. Now, what is that break statement that we saw in the case constant body? It is used to exit the switch statement. So, we will see what is the significance of this break statement or break keyword. It is used in conditional, it is not necessary that it has to be used only in switch case. It can be used in any conditional construct or even generally in a program. If you want a sudden shift out of the current execution phase, you can use this break statement. It will just exit the body of the conditional construct without any reason. So, suppose you are typing one set of 3 statements and for some reason you want to come out of that loop or come out of that set of statements. You see, every conditional construct's body is indicated by the opening and closing brace. Now, if you want to just shift out of that brace, you can just give a break statement wherever you want. Without any question, the compiler will just come out of the body of the loop and start executing the statements following it. So, it is an unconditional transfer of control. There is no need for any evaluation, no need for any checking. When the compiler sees a break, it will just jump out of that body. Syntax is simply the break keyword followed by the semicolon. So, that is why in the switch case construct, in every case constant set of statements you have the break. Once that statement is executed, it will not compare it with any other case constant. It will simply jump out of the switch body. That is why you use this break statement. Now, this default keyword, as I said, if no case constant matches with the condition variable, their default keyword statements are executed. So, what is this keyword? The statements are executed if the value of the switch condition variable does not match any of the case constants. Both case and default statements can occur in any order. It is not necessary that the default label should come only at the end of the switch case. The default label can come even beforehand or in between. The compiler is going to ignore it. It is only going to keep checking the case constants. Case expressions, that is, the switch case expression can either be an integer or character only. You cannot have expressions as case constant. So, when you say switch x, that x should have a value either a whole number or it should be a character. You cannot have a floating point or double or any special symbols over there. So, that is to be kept in mind. So, these are all the rules that are to be followed when we are writing a switch case construct and all the possible situations and circumstances that have to be faced and appropriate actions taken based on whether the condition variable matches with the case constants or not. If we forget to use the break keyword in any case construct also, it will lead to a infinite error.